Right. Great to see you all back. Has been a week, hasn't it? Yeah. So, tomorrow I'm going to take the exhibition down, help take the exhibition down. So it's been nice having work on it. It's been good. So we've got this week and we've got next week, and then I believe that's it. We've got for about 6 weeks. So yeah, as I say, I'm going to be taking a 6-week break. Now, so I should be back on, I think, the 20th, actually, not the 22nd, it's the 20th. Thursday is the 22nd. Should be back on 20th of October. So, just in case anybody isn't here next week, just to sort of reiterate. Do check your emails, just in case anything delays me getting back. Because basically what I'm going to do is drive to Sicily and back, and do paintings on the way. I've got the painting holiday trip with my students, or some of the students joining me and Luca. So that will be sort of the second week in. And then my idea is to sort of drive around and do some paintings on the way. My son's going to join me in Sicily, so I've only really got about 6 days to drive back. So just in case there's any problems and they have any sort of breakdown, do check your emails a little bit closer to the time. If I do have any problem, I'll get my wife to send an email out to everybody. So hopefully you'll all get my email. If you're not sure, do just check. You can ring, you can email, text, whatever. If you're not quite sure. So I'll say this all again next week. So I've got this week carrying on with the night scenes project, and this was a request from one of the students here to do something on candle light. She's not interested in my children. Can't think of that. Way back in the day. So I'm not entirely sure about this, but this is how I think I'm going to have a go. So I think I'm going to paint almost like the aura of the candle first. I generally work background to foreground, but I don't really want to make it too dark around here. So I thought I'll get some lighter tones here. So let's go with that. So I'm going to use, these are oils. To be honest, oil's much easier than most of the other mediums. I'm going to go for a sort of warmish yellow, like a kind of slightly orangey yellow. Last time I was here, I think I did a little bit on colour mixing, a revision of the basics. So if you wanted to catch up on that, that's on the last video. So I'll start with a little bit of pure yellow. This is you'll find that most of the kind of yellows are fairly transparent, unless you've got like genuine cadmium, which costs like 20 quid a tube or something like that. You'll find that there's a bit of transparency to the yellows. And I kind of like, sometimes I want transparency, so it works quite well with this. So just going straight in with the cadmium yellow, it might be cadmium yellow pale, that one. And then adding a tiny, and I quite like the idea of just making this sort of feel like it's radiating out a little bit more. The actual candle itself, that is, this wants to be the brightest bit, and maybe some of this around here. This is a little bit muted, but I'll carry on painting this bit first. So adding tiny bits of either cadmium red or alizarin, and just blending that in as I go. And so the nice thing about the oils is it's very easy to get these nice blends. Working on a slightly warmer ground is probably quite a nice idea. So this is the one I had. I've got another board somewhere that's blue, and that's probably not going to be quite as successful because you've got a nice little bit of the warm pinky colour coming through. And then gradually getting a little bit stronger in colour, a bit more orangey. So as we're working out. And obviously like the middle bit wants to be the brightest bit. So I'll work that in there. And I've got a tiny bit darker still. So the idea is to get this sort of gradual transition into the darker areas. And so I'm tweaking it a little bit. I'm exaggerating what I've got in the photo to see if it can make a more interesting effect. And then going even darker still, so I'll add I've got browns and blacks and dark reds. So again, just go really dark here. A mixture of the three, brown, black and dark red. softening that in. So it's actually worth kind of over painting more than you want. Probably I could have over painted that a bit more, so that I could just kind of blend that in. Work that around here. That in here. The candle itself, let's just get another brush. Again, it's fairly light here, not as light as the flame, but maybe a slightly creamy colour. So I'll add my brown and white and a little bit of yellow. Make that kind of creamy colour. A tiny bit of red as well, that's gone a bit too dull. A bit more yellow. Actually, think something like yellow ochre would be good with that. A bit of that in. If anybody hasn't used the oils and wants to try them, I've got a set here you're very welcome to use. So, actually, it's quite dark at the bottom, isn't it? So, I'd like a little bit of light on that there. That sort of tone there. Now, it makes me think probably I need to go a little bit dark around here because the tones are a bit too close. That's the thing about experimenting, you can't really tell till you've got the paint down. That's a bit darker there. And let's go back to this one and just darken up around here a little bit. Get that a tiny bit. Yeah, perhaps bring that those darker tones down. The other thing is working on a lightish board, obviously with dark colours. Dark colours tend to be more transparent, so sometimes you need some sort of undercoat, like a tone board, or just make a darker area, let that dry, and then put the darker colours over the top. Otherwise, you'll find that it's quite hard to get them to colour. It's just the nature of the pigments. The darker colours are more transparent. I think that's looking a bit closer. Use your fingers, and then let's just get that lighter bit in. So this would be pure white with just the tiniest bit of yellow in. So just warming the white up a little bit until it's just a lot. You don't want it too noticeable, but sometimes just having it slightly lighter. So yeah, that's a little bit like that. And down here there's a little bit of, we can see the wick, and it's a bit yellower there. I think that makes the difference, doesn't it? Just putting the flame in. A little bit of candle wax popping up there. And I'll just go a tiny bit darker for the wick itself. Find a thin brush. That'll do. So, something along those lines. There's a bit of tweaking probably could be done here and there. I think it probably wants to be a little bit darker closer in than there. So just an experiment. I'm going to try darkening this yellow and see what difference that makes. So go back in the yellow, a little bit of brown, I think, a little bit of red. Take that in a little bit closer. See if that, yeah, I think that probably helps. Just be a little bit. Smudge it slightly. Yeah, so it's sort of thing you can sort of to and fro a little bit with. I don't know, I think maybe something in between actually, I think I prefer. So that's me experimenting with 20th model. I don't know if that helps.
It's definitely.
Does it? Yeah, you see how it can go.
Yeah.
You got something now, Claire? Come on, let's see yours.
So who's going to demo next week?
That's why I asked.
Are any of you thinking of meeting up when I'm away, or doing a bit of sketching somewhere?
We've all said we want to meet up and
Go for
see
coffee.
what works out, yeah.
Maybe get the sketchbook out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we could
we
do
could do that.
We could do that.
I like that.
Yeah. What I might do, I might try and do a few of the little videos. Obviously, I don't, it won't be anything like what I'm doing here, but I may try and do a few YouTube videos. So if you do follow it at all.
You're not setting us homework, are you?
No, but I just. So that I don't come back and it's deserted and everybody's lost interest. Okay, right, I'll let you go.